This is my newly acquired Dell Inspiron 9300 laptop. I picked this up off of letgo on Saturday for, I believe, 20 bucks. It's in pretty good condition for its price, and it's got a wide selection of ports. The only physical damage I was able to point out, and it might not even show up on camera, is that there is a little bit of scratching right along there, but that's fine. And then there's also, I believe, maybe it's on the other side, but there's a little crack somewhere. Yeah, right there, if you can see it. Kind of goes along there. It's not a big crack, and it's not a big deal. But, other than that, it's in perfectly functioning order. If the camera would focus. There we go. Anyway, it's in pretty good condition. It's got a little bit of wear on the keyboard. And, my lighting's very bad right now, so it probably won't even show up, but, there's a little bit of wear on the keyboard, but the trackpad is pretty much flawless other than being a little bit dirty. So it's currently Friday, and I picked this up last Saturday. A little bit of hair there. Anyway, I think I should give you a little bit of a tour of the ports. So, right in the front here, we've got audio controls for, I'm guessing, mute, volume down, volume up, play, rewind, fast forward, and stop. And then we've got two stereo speakers. And I think that, no, that's a little bit of a scratch there on the speakers. I didn't actually notice that till now. Anyway, on this side here, we have a PCMCIA, this is probably card bus capable slot. That slot right there is where the hard drive would go. As you can see on the bottom, there's a hard drive indicator right there. We've got a mini 1394 IEEE Firewire port, and that is probably Firewire 400. I wouldn't imagine this would be 800 capable, and considering it looks very capable, or very similar to a Firewire 400 port with those pins. Microphone and audio, or microphone and headphone jacks, an SD card slot, but it's missing the blank that would come with it from Dell. There's a cooling grill right there, I'm guessing for the CPU, although this does have dedicated graphics, which I'll get to in a little bit. Another cooling fan, which is definitely for the CPU, and considering the positioning of that one and this one, I would imagine that they're both for the CPU. We've also got an S-Video out to connect to an old CRT TV. We've got a 10100 Ethernet card. It does look like there's a little bit of damage there in that port. Just looking, it probably doesn't show up on video, but there's a little bit of a, it almost looks like bending in the pins, but I don't plan to use the Ethernet anyway. It has built-in Wi-Fi. A 56K modem, 4 USB, probably 2.0 ports. This was kind of surprising whenever I saw this. It has a DVI out, which is, I believe this is DVI-D out port, which I wasn't expecting, because typically home-grade Inspiron laptops like this would only come with a VGA, and if it didn't come with a VGA, it didn't come with anything at all. Maybe it would come with the previously stated S-Video port. That's where the AC adapter would go. Another cooling fan, which is probably for the Southbridge GPU chip. We've got a Kensington lock slot. That is another cooling fan. So this has a lot of cooling, so I mean, I guess there's probably, that's another thing for the CPU. 2 more USB 2.0 ports. A DVD rewritable drive. I believe this is double-sided. It's not LightScribe capable, obviously, otherwise it would have stated that. And we're back to the front. And this does have a latch to open the LCD panel. So, without further ado, let me scoot this back over here, and let's give this thing a proper power on. As previously stated, I have had this laptop for a few days, and I have done a bunch of updates and driver installs, and I did a reinstall of XP because it did not actually come with an operating system. However, it did come complete with an 80 gigabyte. I'm gonna guess probably SATA 2, maybe SATA 1 even, hard drive. I didn't actually check the model number or dates, so I don't know when it was manufactured or who manufactured it. I did get it with its original power supply. I believe this is a 65 watt power supply, if I'm able to check on camera here. It is indeed a 65 watt AC adapter. So, without further ado, let's turn it on. Could hurt if you didn't hear the DVD drive right there. It is running Windows XP Professional Service Pack 3, which is, I believe, the, I don't think there were ever XP Professional unofficial updates. I know they made some for Home Edition and Windows 2000. I don't think they ever made any for Professional. Otherwise, I will look around on the internet to see if I can find a download link for them. Also, if you didn't notice, this laptop is very big. It has a 17-inch, I believe 1440 by 900 LCD panel. It is a pretty nice panel, however it is non-glossy, which isn't a big deal. It still works perfectly fine, and I'm perfectly happy with it. This would have been the same screen size as a laptop I was looking into, which would have been the Dell Precision M6400. Does have built-in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and I was not very surprised to see the Wi-Fi as much as I was to see the Bluetooth. It is definitely an early version of Bluetooth because this laptop was released in 2006, and Bluetooth was still pretty far in its infancy in 2006. It does have a standard Dell keyboard, and if I can go into properties here, this resolution actually does look very nice on this LCD panel. If I can go ahead and check the properties here, I will show you what it is doing. Still kind of booting up, so it's going to take a little bit, but there we go. It is Windows XP Professional Service Pack 3. It's got an Intel Pentium M processor, clocked at 1.86 gigahertz. 1 gigabyte of memory. I believe this is, I want to say 333 megahertz, maybe 444, but I'm not exactly sure. It might be a higher clock speed. I do plan on upgrading the RAM. This is how I found it. It is complete with a hard drive and RAM and everything, and that's kind of why I wanted to pick it up, because I did have to go about 10 miles to go ahead and pick this up, because I found this on letgo, which is basically a, it's almost like Craigslist, but you get a lot more ability to check the user's profile before you meet them, which is what I like about it. You can hear that hard drive spinning. It is quite quiet, though, for a hard drive, and I'm quite happy with that. And it does work for some basic tasks. I have installed Opera and a few other pieces of software on here, but we're only going to be taking a look at what it can do on the web, at least for right now. I'm not so sure about that hard drive. It's pretty much staying on silent, or on just completely lit up with that LCD, or that LED there. Something else I'd like to point out is that the Wi-Fi card in this laptop, which I believe is an Intel ProSet Wireless 2200, like 2200G or something like that. It does 5G connections to wireless networks, which I thought to be very, this was what originally came in this laptop, which I was really surprised by. I'm not so sure about that wireless module. It keeps reconnecting and disconnecting out of nowhere. Anyway, here's a look inside Device Manager, and you can see there's that Dell Wireless 350 Bluetooth module, which would act as the Bluetooth controller. This is only a single core, single threaded processor. Obviously, it's a Pentium M from 2006. That hard drive appears to be a Toshiba MK8026GAX, the 80 indicating that it's an 80 gigabyte drive. It does have dedicated ATI Mobility Radeon X300 graphics, which if I'm correct, that's only a 32 megabyte video chip. You can see there's that NEC DVD rewritable ND6650A DVD rewritable drive. There's the modem, which is a Connexent D110 MDC V92. So it is a V92, not just a V90. So that's good. I would expect a V92 out of a machine this new. There's that Pentium M processor. You can see up there the Intel Pro Wireless 2915 ABG wireless card. I'm expecting it's probably just in a slot on the board. I also decided to get some better lighting, but the lights in this room tend to flicker, so you might be able to see the wear on those keys now, on the ER and the T key, which is probably the worst off out of all of them. Even the space bar isn't that bad. There's only that little bit of wear which might not even make it through the video compressing process. And there's a little bit of dirt underneath the keyboard, but I don't plan to do a full restoration of the keyboard, considering this is just going to be another laptop to add to my collection of mid-2000s Dell machines. It does have Sigma-Tel C major audio, which I'm guessing is just the built-in audio chip. I always get the North Bridge and the South Bridge mixed up. I always forget which is which. So, there's that. And the other devices, what is that? That's the Ethernet controller. Forgot if I was able to find a working Ethernet driver for this machine or not. I know there was one driver for this machine that I could just not find a working driver for, and it was probably the Ethernet driver. Although considering the kind of messed up state of the Ethernet port, I don't really plan to do a whole lot with the Ethernet anyway, unless the built-in Wi-Fi card starts giving up more errors than it already is, which, considering that, I might try to replace that Wi-Fi card. It keeps just reconnecting and disconnecting out of nowhere. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with it. It does list a Microsoft Bluetooth enumerator. Not exactly sure what that is. It's probably just some sort of a... I'm gonna guess it's maybe some sort of a decoder that transmits the radio signals from the Bluetooth module to the operating system, I'm guessing, because typically Bluetooth machines can sit like that iMac G5 over there typically do need a transmitter to go to the operating system. Other than that, there's not a whole lot else that's really interesting in here. There's a PC card adapter. It's a Ryco RRL5C4762. It's a very long name. I'm not exactly sure if that's a model number or just random numbers. It's probably a model number, I would imagine. There's the IEEE Firewire controller. Not a whole lot else in here. It does have 2 IDE channels there, as you can see. So yeah, this thing definitely does have an Intel chipset, which I would imagine is an Intel processor. Anyway, I might make a following up on upgrading this laptop, as it can definitely use some upgrades. I might even have an upgrade CPU for this one, although I'm not exactly sure. I do have a whole bunch of Pentium M CPUs, although I do believe that the 1.86 gigahertz is the fastest CPU supported by the socket in this laptop. Anyway, that was a look on my $20 Dell Inspiron, I almost said Dimension, 9300 laptop computer. Thank you all for watching.